My name is Becky. I'm the Assistant Director of Financial Aid here at Northern State University. My role is to help you answer that big, important question, how do I pay for college? Let me share my presentation and we'll get started. As I'm sure you are aware, college is expensive. What you may not know, though, is there is a whole host of professionals just like me whose job it is to help you figure this out of how to pay for school. Now, if you're not familiar with it, financial aid is any money that you use to pay for college. If it doesn't come out of your own pocket, it's financial aid. The complicated part is we use an awful lot of words to describe it. We call it scholarships, we call it loans, we call it grants. There's state funded, federal funded, there's need-based and non-need-based, all kinds of different words, but they're all used to describe money that's used to pay for college. What you need to understand is how to get your piece of it. How do you get that money to help you pay for school? That way you don't have to pay for it all on your own. The biggest chunk of money comes from the federal government, the FAFSA. If you haven't heard that word before, it's time to get familiar with it. FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. It's how you get your piece of the federal government's money to help you pay for school. It's a form, a standard form. We encourage all students to complete it because until you do, you don't know what you're eligible for. The form is online and you can see on your screen the link of where you would need to go in order to complete the application. It takes about an hour of your time because there are an awful lot of questions, but it's certainly worth it because there's money behind it. The FAFSA form is based primarily on student information. However, there's also a fair amount of questions for parents. And what that means is that both of you should start this process by creating the FSA ID. What that is your electronic signature. Because both student and parent are providing information on the form, you both have to sign the form to say, my information is correct, and that's what the FSA ID does. You can go to this same website, StudentAid.gov, to create your FSA ID. Once you have that created, then you're ready to complete the FAFSA application. Like I said, plan to spend about an hour's worth of time completing this. The majority of the questions shouldn't be a problem. You already know the answers to them. Questions like, who are you? Where are you from? Where do you live? Where have you gone to high school? Then it gets a little bit harder of, where do you plan to go to college? You don't have to have that question answered. In fact, on the FAFSA form, you can list up to 10 different schools. If you've got your list narrowed down to 10 or fewer schools, that's all you need. That's as much as you need. You're ready to complete the FAFSA. List any school that you can possibly see yourself going to. Whether you go or not is not the question right now. Whether you've visited that campus or not, whether you've applied to that campus is not the question right now. The FAFSA is, at its heart, a request for information. Any school that you want information from should be listed on the form. After that section of the FAFSA, then it gets into the harder stuff, which is the tax information. Nobody likes digging through tax forms, and so this is where it can get a little bit complicated. The FAFSA form does have a tool that's called Link to IRS, which means as you're answering questions, you can link from the FAFSA to the IRS website where hopefully the IRS can find your tax information and you can import that data right back into the FAFSA. That means it will load the answers for you rather than you having to type them all in. It's a great tool and it certainly speeds up the FAFSA process. Again, the FAFSA is going to ask for both student information and parent information. If you both filed taxes, you can both use that tool to import tax information and drop it onto the FAFSA form for you. Okay? You might be wondering when you have to do this. The FAFSA form is year specific, not calendar year. This is tied to the academic year. Whenever it is that you plan to go to college that academic year, That's the version of the FAFSA that you need to complete. Right now, there's 2 versions of the FAFSA out on the website. The 2019-20 version, that's for students who are currently enrolled in college right now. For students who want financial aid this coming fall and spring, that version of the FAFSA is also available, and that's the 2020-2021 version. It's actually been available since October. For those of you who are seniors, if you haven't done your FAFSA yet, now's the time. The sooner the better. But when we get to the fall, it's October again, and that means it's time to do the FAFSA again. Like I said, your FAFSA is only good for 1 year. So seniors, you need to have a FAFSA done right now to prepare for the fall. And then once we get to the fall semester, it'll be time for you to complete the FAFSA again. And for those of you who are juniors right now, then it's time for you to get started. October 1 is the go date, okay? The reason you want to do the FAFSA as soon as possible once it's available for you is because every college has deadlines. The sooner you complete a FAFSA, the more schools' deadlines you will meet. And the reason you're trying to meet those deadlines is to maximize how much money you can get. The more free dollars you have coming for you, the less you have to worry about paying for school yourself. Now let me talk for a couple minutes about how this process works. First of all, it begins with you. You go online, you create your FSA ID, then you're ready to submit the FAFSA form. Once you submit it online, your information goes to the federal government. They're going to process it and figure out what you as a family can pay for school. They're going to come up with a number. Then that number and all your answers to those questions gets forwarded to any of those schools that you listed. If you listed 1 school or if you listed 10 schools, each one gets a copy of your information. Then as a school, it's our job to figure out which of the federal financial aid programs do you qualify for? How much money can we give you? How we do that is with this formula. Cost of attendance minus expected family contribution equals financial need. Let me go through these. Again, there's lots of words in financial aid, fancy phrases, and I want to make sure you understand them. The first up is cost of attendance. And as you might guess, it's how much it costs to go to school. It's made up of 2 different parts. Direct costs, that's what the school itself costs. Those are going to be things like tuition, fees. If you're looking at a school that has on-campus housing, this would also be a residence hall or a meal plan, the direct costs that the school itself might bill you for. Indirect costs are things that you don't owe to the school, but there's still costs that you have as you're going to college. They might be things like transportation. One way or another, whether you drive or fly, somehow you have to get to the school. And paying for gas or paying for a plane ticket would be something considered indirect costs. The combination of those is your cost of attendance. You can use financial aid for all of those costs. Again, whether it's something that you owe the school or just an expense that you have while going to college, all of that is how much it's going to cost you to be a college student. And that's your cost of attendance. This is going to vary whether you are planning to go to a school that is in-state or out of state. That depends on whether your residency rate changes. It's going to depend whether you are looking at a 2-year school or a 4-year school. It will change whether you are looking at a public school or a private school. All of those things make a difference on how much it costs for you to go to a particular school. And that's the school's job to figure out what that number is for you. The next number in the formula, this comes straight off of the FAFSA. This is that number that the federal government calculated when they were figuring out all that information you put on the FAFSA. What does it mean? It's a benchmark, it's a standard, it's a measure of you and your family's ability to pay for school. Now, this isn't something where you're going to have to write a check for college and this is how much you're going to pay. It's a measure, and we use it in this calculation to figure out how much help we can give you. The cost of attendance number, that comes from the school, and that varies per school. This number, this is your number, and it doesn't matter where you go to college. If you go to a 2-year school that's down the road from your house, or if you go to an Ivy League school that's thousands of miles away, you and your family can only pay so much for school. But that's an important factor because that means each school might have a different award package of how much aid they can give you. Not because your ability to pay changed, but because the cost of attendance changed. Let me give you a couple examples to see how this works. On the screen, you have 2 different formulas and 2 different responses from the school. For example, on the left-hand side, cost of attendance in this case is $22,750. For this student, the expected family contribution is 0. That means that the student did a FAFSA and the federal government came back and said, your income, your situation is such that you shouldn't have to pay anything towards college. So how much financial need do you have is the full cost, $22,750. What's listed under there are different programs, different options that we as a financial aid office have to fill your need, dollars that we have to give you to help you pay for school. The first 2, the Pell Grant and the SEOG grant, both of those are federal programs. They come because you did the FAFSA. Those 2 are free dollars. They work just like scholarships. They're free money to help you go to school. You don't have to pay it back. That means it's the best money you can get. The scholarship, the third one, that might be something where you applied for a scholarship from your local area. It might be a scholarship from the institution or the college that you're going to. There's a variety of places. But those first 3 are the free money. Next to that, below it, those are the not free money. If you look down at the very bottom, you see total gift aid. That difference between total gift aid and total self-help aid is an important distinction because the free money, the gift money, you don't have to give that back. That one's easy and done and the best money that you can get. The self-help aid comes with strings attached. For the 2 loans, the direct loan and the unsubsidized loan, the string that's attached to those is because it's a loan like any other loan, you have to pay it back and you have to pay it back with interest, which not necessarily a bad thing because it's more money than you had before to pay for school, but it's not as good as free money. And that's why you want to try to maximize the gift aid. The work study is somewhere in between. As the name implies, you have to work for it, but it's not free like a scholarship, and you don't have to give it back like a loan. But it is still self-help because you have to do something in order to get it. But that combination of programs, grants, loans, scholarships, the combination is what makes up your financial aid award package. That's what the school is doing. We're coming up with which programs do we have available, how much money is available in each of those programs that we can help you with, and we respond to you with an award offer. You should receive one from every school that you listed on the FAFSA. That's our response. If you will, the FAFSA is essentially a request for information saying, how much money could I get if I come to your school? The award offer from the school is our answer to that question. This is what you could get at our institution. Those awards may be the same from one school to the next, or they may be very different. As I described, because the cost of attendance changes from one school to the next, so does the award package. Now, if you look at the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see a very similar student who has the same cost of attendance, the same expected family contribution of 0. The main difference, however, is that this student was able to take advantage of benefits from vocational rehabilitation. If you're someone who's receiving voc rehab benefits now while you're going to high school, it's a great opportunity to check with your counselor to see if those benefits might also continue as you go to college. As you can see in this example, there might be an awful lot of dollars available to you if you reach out to that resource. The important difference between these 2 award offers is visible down at the bottom. The first number, total aid, shows you that this student was able to get enough financial aid to cover their entire cost of attendance. They've got free money for everything. Down at the bottom, you see the breakdown. Total gift aid is twice the size on this one that it was for the first example. The self-help aid is not near as much. That combination means that students got free money to cover pretty much all of their direct costs, though maybe not all of their indirect costs. That's a great way, a great example to show how it makes a difference of where you go to look for dollars. With financial aid, it's about looking under rocks. The more rocks you look under, the more dollars you're going to find. Filling out the FAFSA application is an important first step. That's a great way to get money to pay for school. There's a lot of dollars available. Another step are resources like Voc Rehab. There might be funding available for you for tuition, for fees, for books, possibly even for room and meal plan if you contact your Voc Rehab counselor. Check in with them, see what's available. Another rock to think about is applying for scholarships. There's scholarships available from anyone to anyone, but you do have to go look for it. Most of these free dollars don't just fall from the sky. You have to put some effort into it. Check with your school, see what scholarships are sent directly to your high school that you can apply for. Generally, scholarships are only available to seniors, but if you're a junior right now, pay attention. Many of these scholarships come out every year, and if you can start a list of which ones came out in April, which ones came out in May, then you'll be ready next year in order to apply. The financial aid process is cyclical. We do the same stuff every year. Every year you do your FAFSA, every year you check in with your Voc Rehab counselor, every year you apply for scholarships. Scholarship season runs from about October through April. That's really your window, which means if you're a senior, you've still got time to keep applying for scholarships. But next year, it's time to do it all over again. Many scholarships are only good for 1 year, similar to the FAFSA, which means you need to reapply every year. The good news is that there's no limit. You can have as many free dollars as you can get your hands on. And the more free dollars that you have, the less you have to worry about those self-help dollars. But apply for scholarships starting with your school. Look to see if any of the colleges or schools that you're planning to attend offer scholarship dollars, perhaps on their website or by reaching out to them directly. Look at the state. The state of South Dakota has a number of scholarships, such as the South Dakota Opportunity Scholarship, another opportunity to help you pay for school, and you can always look online. Remember, when you're looking online, to use some common sense. You don't want to give out any credit card numbers, account numbers, or social security numbers, but there are still good resources available to you online to help you find scholarships. So remember, complete your FAFSA every year. The sooner you complete it, the more schools' deadlines that you'll meet. Reach out to your Voc Rehab office and see if there's any benefits that you can receive that they can help you with currently and in the future. And stay in touch. The financial aid process is not a short one. This might last all the way from October to September. There's a lot can go wrong in that time frame, and you don't want to get off track. It certainly wouldn't hurt to send an email, give a phone call to just check in and make sure everything's going okay. Sometimes that's the hardest part of asking for help, but I promise you, you won't be the first one to ask me a question, nor will you be the last. As I said, financial aid professionals, this is what we do. Whether you're planning to come to NSU or not, I'm here to help. Give me a call, send me an email. I've literally done this for over 20 years. I promise there's some tips that you learn along the way that can make it easier, and I'd be glad to share those with you. College is stressful enough. If you can find a shortcut, this is your opportunity to take it. Most of the colleges and universities have their own financial aid department. You're welcome to reach out to them and see what they can offer you. Financial aid doesn't change very much from one school to the next, but we do have some variation. If there's something that's specific to a school, you might need to reach out directly to them to find that out. This is not a time to wait. This is a time to reach out and ask for help. Because financial aid is complicated and it is long, we don't want you to get lost along the way. Let us help you make this process as smooth as possible and give you all the help that we can. We're a resource that's here for you to make paying for college as smooth as possible. Thank you for your time and attention today. Have a great day.